Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of Star Wars, The Acolyte. It was called Night. And as it starts, having been thrown like a rag doll at the end of last week's episode, Osha wakes up some distance from where she encountered the red lightsaber guy, but then, as she's walking, she soon stumbles and falls next to the body of one of the Jedi who had accompanied her to the planet in front of Kelnaka's place, at which point she sees a short distance away the red lightsaber guy fighting the Jedi, killing a number of them, and wounding Yord, prompting Osha to shoot him with her laser gun to no effect, at which point the evil guy chases Osha. As she's running, he throws his lightsaber at her, but Saul is able to deflect it and keep it from hitting her, knocking it back towards the evil guy with his own lightsaber, whereupon the evil guy catches it. Yord arrives on the scene, and Saul orders him to take Osha to the ship. Saul talks to the evil guy, who's apparently being called the Stranger, and he notes that Saul doesn't remember him when asked who he is before they duel. Outside of Kelnaka's place, Jecki runs into May and they fight. Saul demands that the Stranger take his mask off, but he won't because he doesn't want Saul to read his thoughts. Osha hears Jecki fighting with May and wants to help, but Yord insists that she go to the ship with him, per Saul's wishes. They end up having a brief discussion about the Stranger and who he could possibly be. And Yord says he doesn't know, but notes that he gets inside your head and stays there, at which point Osha mentions that her mother could do that. Having abandoned his fight with Saul, the Stranger shows up where Jecki and May are fighting and attacks Jecki, who ends up fighting him with two lightsabers, her own and Master Kanaka's that she got off of May, who had stolen it, until the Stranger cuts it in half, leaving her with just one before fleeing after May, who had also run off. When he catches May, he confronts her, saying that he knows she was going to betray him, and she asks for forgiveness, but he doesn't seem to forgive her, and when he goes to kill her, he's only stopped by Jecki and Saul. Still on her way to the ship with Yord, Osha seems to hear May calling to her in a whisper, causing her to tell Yord that they have to go back, which they do. But they don't get there in time to stop the Stranger, who it turns out is Quamir, from killing Jecki and getting May in a chokehold with his lightsaber to her head. Yord runs in and attacks Quamir, allowing May to get away, at which point she is stunned by Osha's laser gun after Quamir snaps Yord's neck. Saul asks Quamir what he wants, and he says he just wants the right to exist and to use his abilities, which at the present time is against Jedi rules, but he ends up being carried off by the giant flying creatures that attack him when Osha attracts them to him by sticking a light-up part of her little robot friend on his back. May then gets up and stuns Saul with a laser gun, and May and Osha have a reunion, during which May asks Osha to choose her, but Osha tries to arrest May instead, and they argue. May ends up getting Osha down and knocked out before cutting off her own braids with somebody's lightsaber, in order, of course, to impersonate Osha, which she does before heading back to the ship with Saul, as Quamir extricates himself from his bug situation. Upon also returning to the ship, Basil seems to sense that something is off, scent-wise. Before the episode ends, Quamir retrieves his helmet and finds the still incapacitated Osha, whom he seems to believe is May. And that's where the episode ended. So I enjoyed watching this episode as it was on. I thought that the fighting was really well done. I enjoyed the action scenes, the lightsaber fighting, the hand-to-hand combat. I thought it was all very good. Other than that, uh, you know, I don't like that this Stranger character is Quamir. I don't get that. Like, I don't get it. I mean, it's like Emperor Palpatine all over again, right? Where he's right there under the Jedi's noses, but they don't know it's him. Because, they met him, right? And they interrogated him and all that. Didn't figure out it was him, which. So I don't get that. And I don't understand his goal. There are tons and tons and tons of Jedi at this time in the Star Wars timeline. Does he really think he's going to wipe them all out by himself? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, I guess he thought he was going to have a pupil, so his plan was to have an acolyte, And so he and one other person were gonna wipe out all the like what? I don't know. Was he trying to just was he gonna continue expanding his club of Sith, which he self-identifies as, by the way, until they could kill all the Jedi? I mean, okay, that would take a long time, and chances are you would get stopped before you could accomplish that. So it's just very weird that his goal is what it is. So I don't get it, and there are 3 more episodes now, and I'm wondering if it's going to make any more sense as time goes on. And speaking of being able to kill a whole bunch of Jedi, they did show him single-handedly kill a whole bunch of Jedi, which, itself doesn't make sense. Like, come on, really? There must have been 10 of them. He killed all but one in the end. I don't understand that at all. That's just, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't come off as a Darth Vader type to me. He doesn't have the gravitas of Darth Vader. He doesn't even have the gravitas of Darth Maul to me. So I don't get that at all, how he was able to kill all those Jedi. It's just insane. Speaking of killing Jedi, while I'm not at all sad that Yord is dead, I did not like that character. I'm quite sad that Jackie is dead because I liked that character. So, like, why did they have to kill her? That seemed unnecessary to me. I don't love the whole switcheroo plot thing, right? Because that's just so basic, right? How many times have we seen a show where there's a twin and or a lookalike and an imposter, and I don't like that whole aspect. So I don't know. I enjoyed the action sequences. I thought that was cool, all the fights and everything. But narrative wise, it's just it's I don't know. I want to say pee pee cock on no substance. So yet again, I have to see where they're going before I can say how good this show was. But at the moment, it just seems not very good. And one of the things that drove me crazy during this episode is something like 3 to 5 times somebody's lightsaber like went out and wouldn't work, like at random for just about no reason. And I know it's 100 years before A New Hope and everything, or at least 100 years before The Phantom Menace. But like, were lightsabers like super temperamental back then? Because 3 or 4 or 5 different times, somebody's lightsaber goes out and won't work, like a flashlight. When the flashlight's on and then it's off, and you tap it and it comes back on, that kind of thing. What? What is that? I wasn't buying that. So I don't know. I don't know. Not a great show, not a great episode, but the action sequences were cool. That's all I can say. The action sequences were cool. There were double lightsabers, there were great fisticuffs moments, hand-to-hand combat moments, but that's the only thing about the episode that was any good, really and truly. And that's kind of a sad commentary. So, yet again, I'm left saying, where are they going and will it make sense at the end of the season? Only time will tell. I'm going to get out of here for now. I'll be back to do a breakdown and review of the next episode once it's released. Until I return, may the force be with you.